Look at all that money, yeah, the money that they spend. Take another look now and take some time for hemp. I don't cut trees for paper, cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yeah, it's time for hemp. Whoa, an acre of hemp makes 20 barrels of oil. No need for pesticides to poison all our soil. People got no food, they got no clothes, they got no rent. Well, right now it's time for hemp.
Thank you for taking time for hemp. I'm your host, Casper-Leitch. You are listening to the live broadcast of Time for Hemp all around the world on Tumblr, SoundCloud, iTunes, and of course, iHeartRadio. We are the only all cannabis network in iHeartRadio, and we'd appreciate it if you shared us with your friends. It is Wednesday. Every Wednesday we put a spotlight on all the hardworking people at the wonderful organization known as Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. And there's a group of people that have come together over the years who are police officers, and some of them are currently in the ranks. Some are former police officers, undercover agents, border guards, everybody who's been involved on the front lines of the war on drugs. It was put together by my joint host, Peter Chris. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning, Casper. Good to be with you and your audience again. Thanks for sharing them with us.
And we have an interesting joint guest today on the big broadcast. And I'll let you tell the audience a little bit about him and introduce him to the world.
Okay, Finn Selander is our guest. He ended up retiring from the DEA. He spent some time in the Navy. He was on the Pensacola, Florida Police Department before he got with the DEA. And he spent a lot of his time in that nefarious area, Casper, of marijuana enforcement.
Oh, my God.
I'll let him explain how he came to the light. But Finn, welcome aboard.
Well, thank you. It's always good to take time for him.
Absolutely.
Welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much.
So what got Finn Selander from the DEA to this crazy LEAP organization?
Well, actually, I guess during my career, as you said earlier, I was involved quite a bit with the enforcement of marijuana. I was the assistant coordinator in the state of Florida, and of course out in New Mexico when I got stationed out there. And I saw through time, through various cases, that the war on drugs, really a better term for it, because I was also involved with, if we will, demand reduction, and we would call it, it's actually a war on society. But through various cases, what happened in those cases, I just came to the conclusion that it is time to stop prohibition, because prohibition does not work. I mean, you can look at it historically and see how the original alcohol prohibition did not work. Matter of fact, it as a result of the alcohol prohibition, that's how organized crime got, when I say built up so big and so powerful. And the exact same thing has happened with drugs. When you talk about drugs, the cartels have got so big and powerful that it's it's absolutely makes it very difficult, one, for law enforcement. But what's interesting is that according to DEA statistics, about 70% of the cartel's profits, if you will, comes from marijuana alone. And so the way to stop it actually is to go in, legalize it, regulate it, control it, like that, and get the enforcement out of it. And when you talk about the other drugs, and again, this is leach stance, because we're not just talking about legalizing marijuana. We're looking at least for sure legalize that, but treat the others when you involve coke and heroin and all, and treat it as more as a medical condition, as addiction, and let them get involved. You know, if someone is addicted, you know, the way the laws are today, if you are, an addict, the only way you actually can get treatment, forcing treatment, is if you have an encounter with law enforcement and get arrested. And we need to change that to make it to where, you know, it's more of a medical issue than law enforcement issue.
Yeah, you know,
it's when all is said and done, we've got to get the black market out of drugs, period.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, and it's again, it isn't. I've often told people that when we formed this organization, we called it Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, and it's even broader than just the drug prohibition. When you have what we have to understand is when you have activities or business that people want to do with each other, and you make that illegal, you don't stop it. All you do is drive it underground because the people still want to do it. So what you do in a free, sane society is if these things have problems connected with them, you may regulate it, but you never want to prohibit it because it goes exactly against what you're trying to accomplish. And it seems like it should be so easy for society to learn with our history. I mean, as you mentioned, alcohol prohibition. I often mention this. In 1960, it was against the law to be gay in every state but Illinois. Now, whenever I say that, I always say hats off to Illinois for being smarter than everybody else. But we have a whole history in this free nation's past that tells us that this has never worked, and yet we continue to try it. And it just amazes me.
Oh, absolutely. And I would like to mention also that LEAP has got this new campaign going, and it's called I Live the Drug War Every Day. And what we're requesting is individuals out there that have been impacted by the drug war. We encourage you to tell your story. And we have a website that is just set up for this, for individuals to tell their story, how the drug war has affected them. And it's stories, STORIES, at leap.cc. So if you have a story that you would like to tell about how wrong, how bad if you will, the drug war has gone, please get on to that website. Again, stories at leap.cc, and tell your story.
Yeah, excellent. We just that just opened up today, by the way, is the first day it's up. So people that are listening, they want to be the first ones in, and we want any stories, not just law enforcement, civilians, anybody who can tell us a little bit about the personal impact, because I think we tend not to see that. We see all the flash on the screen with the arrests and stuff, but we very seldom hear about the personal stories of the people involved. And I have people say to me, why do you do this? And I'll say, because honestly, in all truthfulness, it has been my observation and every study that's done, this policy has caused more damage in our society than the drugs have. And when you have a solution to a problem that causes more problems than the problem you're trying to solve, then you have to start thinking about stepping back from that solution. And this is a way for people to do that, to get their story out there. You're going to be submitting a story, Finn, or a bunch of
a story? Oh God, I got so many. I'm put on the spot here. Actually, there is one. There's one that stands out. That one of many, I should say. But I was stationed in Central Florida. I was working out of the Orlando office, and I was involved with, of course, the marijuana. I was one of the assistant coordinators for the state of marijuana. And I had a situation, I had a case, actually, where this individual, he was a former U.S. military, had worked as a combat photographer in Vietnam, and what he did, I guess you say after the war, this was in the very early 90s, he got involved with an individual, and all he was doing was watching, attending a grow. And at that time, it was one of the largest grows that had been worked in Florida, or really anywhere in the U.S. It was well over 1,000 plants. And all he was doing was watching it, making sure that the, watering, everything was correct and all. And me and my partner got onto the case we were out actually in the country looking for another site that we had heard about, we had received information about. And I noticed this Quonset hut that Fan was going, like crazy and all. And I just made a comical comment. I said, man, if I were growing marijuana, that is where I would grow. And my partner looked at me and he says, well, you know what? That's absolutely. Let's check that out. And so in the investigation, as we checked it out, of course, it led to this individual that he did have a huge grow inside this Quonset hut and all. And when we hit the place, what's very interesting is he had all his passports out on the table, the kitchen table and all. And if we had hit it like a week later, he would have been gone. This guy wanted to move back to Vietnam. He had a Vietnamese girlfriend. He was going to move back to Vietnam and just live in peace. He just was a totally, well, this individual totally, utterly, actually worked with us to catch the main guy, okay? He did everything he was supposed to. And in those days, the prosecutor and all, we had a really good working relationship. And he says, what do you want to do, because we never ended up catching the guy, but yet this guy totally cooperated with the government. And so I said, let's go for the maximum whatever departure from the sentencing guidelines and give him the biggest benefit that we can, because with the number of plants that he had, he was looking at pretty much, lifetime, incarceration. It was like, matter of fact, in the end, he ended up getting 25 years. But this is what got me thinking. This guy cooperated with the government totally. And so when it went before the judge, the case, to say that he cooperated and all, in our justice system, just the way it works, this particular judge did not believe that anyone should be cut any benefits for cooperating with the government and all, even though that's the rules. I mean,
right.
And so the judge decided, not a jury, he didn't go to trial. He pled out. He absolutely guilty, and then, like I say, he tried to help us, actually get the guy. And when all was said and done, he ended up, because the judge did not believe it, he ended up spending, actually he's still in prison, but he got like 25 years in prison.
Oh, right.
And that's, for him, it was a death. It was a death.
Yeah. It's one of the interesting things I like to mention about this is just to remind people, we had a huge drug bust that happened in this country back in the late 1960s. It happened in New York City. In fact, it was such a big deal that they made 2 movies out of it. One was called The French Connection, and the other one was a little smaller movie starred Al Pacino called Panic in Needle Park. And that kind of focused on the shortage of heroin on the streets of New York from this huge drug bust. Oh, by the way, that shortage lasted about a month and a half, okay? But that's what the 2 movies were about. That drug bust was 9 pounds of heroin. Not tons, pounds. And it was such a big deal in the late 60s, we made 2 movies out of it. Today, we're seizing this stuff by the ton, and there's never a panic in Needle Park. There's never a shortage on the street. The prices aren't going up. They're going down. The purity's getting stronger. I mean, when do we have to start listening to, what was his name? Einstein, who said that the definition of insanity was doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Can't we see this? Go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. It's absolutely, it is insanity. And I can comment real quick, because I don't want to get off the topic, talking about marijuana, hemp, and all. But in light of, you talk about the heroin, getting on the streets, being more pure, more of it, and, prices going down. Absolutely. I actually served twice since 2008. I went twice to Afghanistan. And I can honestly tell you that every year that we have been over there, it seems like the crop gets bigger and bigger and bigger each year. And anyone can just get online, they can research that and all. And that is something that is absolutely, doesn't make sense. Why is it that the crops in Afghanistan are getting bigger and bigger?
Absolutely. In fact, when Seymour Hoffman died, they said, well, that's what heroin addiction caused. I said, no, that's what a prohibitionary marketplace causes. Because if he was addicted to heroin and buying it off of a legal marketplace that was regulated and controlled, I don't think he'd be dead. Because people don't usually take intentional overdoses there because they don't know what they're buying on the street, but it's the only place they can get it.
So, right. That an individual a number of years ago, Brian Fremantle, he's a researcher, writer that wrote a book. It's actually one of the best books ever out there. It's called The Fix. And he actually was allowed, talked himself into where the cartels actually, and this was on both sides of, you say, the ocean. He was Europe and, of course, down in South America. But he talked to all the different, not just the regular cartels. He was talking about, I think, the Russian mafia, the Yakuza, which is the Japanese mafia and all. And he let them into, they let him in, and he interviewed, everybody that was anybody, that was about 20 years ago we're talking about, the drug lords at that time. And what's interesting is that the amount of money, I don't think the average person really understands when you have a black market like what we do today and with the prohibition and all. Right. They don't understand the amount of money that is generated from that. And in his time when he wrote this particular book, and again, this is years ago, we're talking 15, 20 years ago, at that time, the estimate was $500 billion coming through the U.S. economy. The $500 billion, which is absolutely crazy. Now we're talking about all drugs,
right.
Whether, heroin, coke, everything. But with that, and that was, again, 20 years ago. What is it today? I don't think it would be outlandish to say it's probably $700 billion to $1 trillion that actually moves to the economy. And so the bottom line, and Leach stance even, is we've got to get the black market out of drugs. And the only way to do that right now, the only way is move in this direction, and that is to legalize and control, like that. So if we don't, now we have to be careful. Because I will say this, everybody looks at, like, for instance, when we talk marijuana, especially with what Colorado and Washington State have done, which, they're ahead of everybody, because they've done it's just legal, right? And which the way it should be, because if you have just the medical side, what happens, there's such a demand, and I know this because I'm working on a story myself now, and a lot of these legal marijuana, medical marijuana producers, because the demand is so huge. I mean, you can just see news stories where they talk about, like, even in Colorado when they first legalized it, how all the medical marijuana stores were selling out and everything they had. Right. And what's going on really is that a lot of, because of the demand, because of the demand, the medical marijuana, grows and all, they're running out. And there are some out there that are getting involved. And this is, exactly, when I say what the Department of Justice and all, what they want, and they have to be real careful about this. But, they're getting involved in extra grows, illegal grows, just to supply to demand. And in the end, that only hurts the whole cause, if you will. Just, I say, be aware of that. You get involved. I mean, the answer, the bottom line answer is, I think we should legalize it across the board, tax it, and control it. But you do have to be careful, not look at it as just like a revenue, where, tax, because it's, because you can tax it out of existence too. That's wrong.
Right.
I actually about a month and a half ago, 6 weeks ago, I actually talked to a tax individual, an IRS individual that had just come back from Colorado and had done the taxes and all for one business in Colorado. And he point blank told me that one business had generated over $60,000 in tax. One business.
Wow. Well, we need to generate we need to generate some money here, and we can't do that unless we take a commercial break. So we're going to do that now, then listen to a song about how fantastic marijuana is, and then come back and take a whole lot more. Time for hemp. You are listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network. Please share us with your friends.
THCF Medical Clinics are the premier physicians clinic in the United States. THCF has offices all across the United States from Hawaii to Michigan. THCF Medical Clinics has helped approximately 150,000 patients obtain their medical marijuana permits to legally possess, grow, and use medical marijuana. If you have chronic pain, multiple sclerosis, or any other neurological degenerative disease, or if you have any gastrointestinal disorders such as GERD, irritable bowel syndrome, or if you have AIDS, cancer, spastic disorders, seizure disorders, or glaucoma, call us at 1-800-723-0188 or visit us online at hemp.org. Again, the number is 1-800-723-0188 and the site is hemp.org.
In need of a ganja vacation? Blaze away.
Don't criticize it.
Hotbox Jamaica. Chill. Relax and burn all day while watching the amazing ocean view. Listen to the birds. Bathe in the mineral waters of the Ganja River. Munch on tasty Jamaican Rasta food. Take a weed farm tour and hold a meditation. Book this amazing vacation for $420. Get the Sativa Special. 7 nights in Sativa dorms with ganja meals and airport transfer. Check us out at hotboxjamaica.com. That's hotboxjamaica.com. Hotbox Jamaica, a higher meditation vacation.
Indigrow is your source for affordable induction grow lighting. First discovered in 1891 by Nikola Tesla, Indigrow lights deliver 11 years of electronic sunlight to your plants. Indigrow lamps require less than half the power of traditional HID lamps. Converting to Indigrow lights means you'll cut down on your power bill with less lighting. Indigrow lamps also use 5 times less mercury than traditional fluorescent or HID lamps, making Indigrow not only energy efficient but environmentally friendly as well. No more switching out lamps between vegetative and flowering stages. As nature intended, your lights get a steady dose of UV light. That makes your plants grow healthier and stronger. Indigrow products are manufactured in San Diego, California, and come with a written 10-year warranty. What Tesla knew, then growers know now, is that Indigrow lighting is the cost-effective addition to your victory garden. To learn more or order now, go to inda-grow.com. That's INDA-GRO.com, or call 877-452-2244 to answer any of your questions. These guys really know lights. Indigrow really is your sunlight in a box.
Education and information. See what all the buzz is all about. It's time for hemp. It's time for hemp.
Oh, Babylon to stop by. Half of me I grade love get high. I stand myself.
Woke up this morning with an hangover, because from last night me under me water.
Say what now?
It got me feeling like the room was spinning around.
That's the reason.
If I was smoking the real thing, how would I be safe and sound? What do I need now? Good Cali weed. What do I need now, y'all? Give me the tree.
Weed is nice. That's why me have to light up my chalice pipe. Weed is nice. So blaze it a day and blaze it a night. Weed is nice. That's why me have to light up my chalice pipe. Weed is nice. Blaze it a day and blaze it a night. Early in the morning, as high man rise. Give thanks to the Father, to open my eyes. My spirit, my chalwa, I'll be there by my side. In the cool morning breeze, the birds they're making noise. Under my kiki, I'm feeling the vibes. For the rest of the day, that keep me alive. To be nice all the time is my joy and my pride. My good gun just make me push the top prescribe. I could live without my rum and I could live without my stout, but my strong ganja I could not live without. Ganja from me is the west, the north and the south. Keep my chalice blazing along, my chalice never out. Some say the drugs are what them talking about. Catch you with a stick, them tie you down a courthouse. Be about the money if you want come back out. To the prosecutor and all the judge me a shout. Weed is nice. That's why me have to light up my chalice pipe. Weed is nice. Blaze it a day and blaze it a night. Weed is nice. That's why me have to light up my chalice pipe. Weed is nice. Blaze it a day and blaze it a night.
I grade. That's all I need. All I need. I grade. All day. Don't want no cocaine. We come mess up my brain. Take back your morphine. Won't stick me in the vein. No.
What is that?
No want your crack, I say. Cause me no hear not that. No. Don't want to be walking while my belly is touching that bar. Give me the weed now. Good Cali weed. Give me. What do I need now? Wow. Give me the tree. What do I need? I need. Give me the weed. Give me. Say give me the weed now. Yeah. Good Cali weed.
Weed is nice. That's why me have to light up my chalice pipe. Weed is nice. Blaze it a day and blaze it a night. Weed is nice. That's why me have to light up my chalice pipe. Weed is nice. Blaze it a day and blaze it a night.
Yes, we be nice. You were listening to Gimme the Trees by Storm, Storm, all capital, little period after each letter. Find them on the internet. You are listening to Time for Hemp live all around the world on Tumblr, SoundCloud, iTunes, and of course, iHeartRadio. Don't forget, Time for Hemp is no longer just a lonely little radio show of 1 hour in length. We are now a community of hosts. We have about 26 hosts on the network now that are producing about 40 hours a week or more of all original content about the need to end prohibition. Joining us on the network this month are a couple of new shows. We have brought on, let's see. Oh, yeah, Doug McVeigh has started his programming every Tuesday and Thursday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And at the end of the month, we are adding to the programming every Monday and Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, a Japanese version of Time for Hemp. The program will be done in all Japanese, including the music. And that time of day, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, when it is broadcast, happens to be 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Of course, that's the p.m. over in Japan. So that way the program can be part of their 420 events on those 2 days. We also have Time for Hemp in Spanish and in French each week. And, of course, lots of content done in English. Today is Wednesday, Leap Day, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, and I must say it rocks to have a former member of the DEA. Is that right? You're a former member of DEA?
Yes, retired from DEA.
I love that. So you know that the DEA is listening in. I want to let members of the DEA know that your jobs are about over with. You might as well start getting your resumes out. The war on drugs is soon to end. And if you're looking for work, Paul Stanford is hiring people here in Oregon to go out and get petitions signed to get marijuana initiatives onto the ballot. So those members of the DEA, if you're looking for other work to help subsidize your income, let Paul Stanford know that you are or was with the DEA. He will put you at the front of the line and get you working. We'll gladly pay you $10 to $15 an hour to make that happen. With that said, I'll pass the joint conversation to my joint friends here at Time for Hemp.
Thank you very much, Casper, and well put as always. And also, it amazes me when I first came on about 3 years ago when you invited me to come on and do the show, that this was just it, and look how it's growing. And you've done a marvelous job, and you've expanded the voice of this thing, and I just want to let you know it's greatly appreciated by all of us that are doing it. Our guest is Finn Selander. He's retired DEA agent. What year did you retire in, Finn?
2008.
Okay.
Not that long ago.
Okay.
Out of New Mexico. At that time I was stationed in New Mexico. I started my career in Florida down in Miami. But I ended up out in New Mexico.
So I'm assuming you had heard about LEAP before you retired, because we started back in 2002. So that was 6 years old we were. Is that when you ran across us?
Yes. Well, actually, yes. I first actually, there's another story now. While I was actually active, I ended up debating a LEAP member. I was involved with demand reduction, and I ended up debating a LEAP member at the University of New Mexico for the law school there. They have a group of students, law students, that sponsored it. And anyhow, I ended up debating this guy, and it was very interesting. Boy, did I learn a lot. So that happened, and then actually once I retired, when I went overseas, on the way overseas, it was like it was always meant to be for me to join LEAP. While overseas, while in a place called Ali Salim, which is a place that you fly through on your way to either Iraq or Afghanistan, And I was in Aliasalim and just happened to run into another Leaf member. And we get to talking, and one thing, and he flat outright told me, he says, "Man, you need to join Leaf. You know, you absolutely need to join Leaf." So I said I would. And so when I finished that tour and all, I came back and I joined Leaf. So, and I'm a speaker. I'm actually official speaker for Leaf. Yes. In New Mexico. So.
Yeah, it's like you say, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. That was one of my mother's old phrases, and it's so true in many things in life. You know, you think it's your, no, that's not for me or whatever, then all of a sudden later on, boom, there it is. Do you remember who you debated out in New Mexico?
His name, I can tell you, he wears a cowboy hat and he's out of Texas.
Oh, probably Terry Nelson.
It was. That's him,
yep.
Nelson. Yep.
Yep.
And he's good. He's good. He's really good. What's interesting is the audience, you know, me being DEA and all. At first, they seem to be a little bit antagonistic. I can't blame them. But I can honestly say when it was over with, it was quite the audience. They were very good. And I would say at least half of them came up and shook my hand. And they flat told me, they say, "Hey, we may not agree with you, but, you know, thanks for, you know, at least debating Leaf and all and getting it out there, you know, because they knew it took a lot on my side, because actually I did it. I was directly told not to do it, okay? And I went to the students, actually, that was doing it, and I went back to them, and and I told them, I said, my boss says, absolutely, I cannot. We don't engage in that kind of, you know. And the young lady, she kind of like, please, our grades depend on this. You know, it's gone so far along, you know. And so I made certain stipulations, you know, to them. I said, look, man, I cannot have my picture taken, you know, or because the Alibi, which is a local paper, covered it and all. And I made these stipulations, and they were willing to go with that. So, you know, I did not use my name for that particular, you know, appearance, and everything went really good. You know, everything was good. But like I say, when it was all over with, the individuals, you know, they came up to me and they actually shook my hand and said, again, we don't agree with you, but thanks for doing this. So,
well, it's interesting you mentioned that, because we have been trying for I don't know how long now, years, and we cannot get anybody from the DEA to debate us. And
because that's an official policy. That's an official policy.
Right.
It was changed for a short time.
Yep.
It was actually changed. We had Asa Hutchinson was our administrator, and he believed in engaging and doing that. But you know what? He didn't last too long. I mean, I don't think I'd be wrong in saying he was just a year or two at the most as far as the administrator, and then someone else took in and they went back to their old ways and basically do not engage with you know, to debate the issue. So, and I think part of it too, to be truthful, in the early 90s, huge movement to absorb DEA into the FBI, because here's another problem with law enforcement. Everybody has what they call Title 21. Even park rangers and stuff are getting what they call Title 21 authority. Now, Title 21, you've got Title 18 and Title 21. FBI has both.
Right.
DEA is the only federal agency that has basically that single, you know, when I say Title 21 authority. And so for about 4 different times, they tried, and we thought at one point it was for like a sure deal, which in retrospect would have been the best thing, because the best administrator that we ever had was he was in the top 3 or 4 of the FBI, retired. Jack Lawn was his name. And he was one of our earlier administrators, and he was absolutely superb. And I think the reason Jack was brought in those days, it was to merge us. But politics as they be, and the power and entity gets so much power, and then politics play a role, and we're still here. But the best thing that could happen is because we're both Justice Department. It's you just do away with an entity that has the single mission of enforcing Title 21.
Right.
The narcotics laws, because the FBI has the same authority, and so does ATF. You got, and then, as I said earlier, you got Park Range, even the Park Service, Border Patrol, they all have Title 21. We got too many agencies out there that have Title 21 authority.
Right. But it's interesting. It's interesting when you mention that debate situation. When we first started LEAP back in 2002, for the first couple years, we actually had a few debates with the DEA. And then they stopped. And I think what happened was you want to legalize drugs? Yeah, we'll debate you, bring it on. And then all of a sudden they realized what LEAP was, and that was that when they were standing at the podium, the person at the other podium had just as much respect from the audience as they did.
Well, not only that, but most of those individuals, if not all of them, were former law enforcement officials that had been in the trenches fighting the drug war.
Well,
so they had just as much experience.
That's my point. When I first, I retired back in 1989 and got into this movement because I just had to do this. And all through the 90s, I worked with a group that was up here in Syracuse called Reconsider Forum on Drug Policy, and I was their primary spokesperson, and I would go out and do presentations and stuff. But all through the 90s, I talked about this idea that I had for a law enforcement group that would take on this issue. And where that idea came from was a group called Vietnam Veterans Against the War. And why I say the idea for LEAP came from that group is because when that group went out and spoke against the Vietnam War, if you were in the audience, whether you agreed with them or not on their conclusion, nobody had the audacity to look at them and say, you don't understand the problem. Because they were veterans, they fought the war, they kind of understood the problem. And I thought that a group of law enforcement people would bring the same thing to this discussion. Nobody's ever said to you or any of our other speakers, you don't understand the problem. Even if they don't like what we say, they know that we come from that profession and we're speaking to it. And that's where our strength comes from, I think.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that, that is when I say the whole key is when you have an individual that has that experience.
Right.
You can't attack them. I mean, like you say, you just cannot say, you don't understand, you don't have, like say a background in this. And that's something that I've noticed when I get up and speak. As a matter of fact, most people will come up after, I've given a presentation or something, and they say, what you have to say is very, very interesting. And I've never had anyone yet really challenge what I'm saying when I talk about getting the black market out and legalizing, controlling, taxing the drugs. And you can see there's a movement. I mean, another thing that is out there that there's this, like a wave. And slowly but surely, everything is coming down. Right now, I think there's only, and I could be off by a few, but right now I think there's like 20, just say for sake of argument, 20 some more states that I say are going to come on board eventually with either medical marijuana laws or whatever. I think everybody right now is watching what Colorado and Washington State, what they're doing.
Absolutely.
And I think that as they're more successful, which really everything coming out is so positive about, Colorado, that I think that, and you see this, 54% of the voters right now, the first time in the history of all of this, where over half are definitely for at least medical marijuana, and changing things up.
Well, one thing that we have to do is make some money here and pay our bill. So we're going to take a commercial break and then come back and wrap it up here at Time for Hemp. listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network. Please share us with your friends.
If you are in the Portland, Oregon area and are an OMMP card holder, then come down to Nikki's Diggity Dank Market, Portland, Oregon's first and only weekly OMMP market, presented by the Alternative Wellness Center, located at 5241 Southeast 72nd Avenue, 2 blocks south of Foster Boulevard, close to public transportation, held every Sunday 10 a.m. till 7 p.m., connecting quality vendors with patients. Nikki's Diggity Dank Market also has a weekly raffle with products from every vendor. So come down to Nikki's Diggity Dank Market and have fun while connecting with quality vendors and getting great natural medicine. If you are a vendor and want a chance to connect with OMMP patients, you can check out their Facebook page at facebook.com/Alternative Wellness Center or call 971-888-4392. Be sure to register early because space is limited. Nikki's Diggity Dank Market.
In need of a ganja vacation? Blaze away.
Don't criticize it.
Hotbox Jamaica. Chill.
Legalize it, yeah.
Relax. And burn all day while watching the amazing ocean view. Listen to the birds. Bathe in the mineral waters of the Ganja River. Munch on tasty Jamaican Rasta food. Take a weed farm tour and hold a meditation. Book this amazing vacation for $420. Get the Sativa Special. 7 nights in Sativa dorms with ganja meals and airport transfer. Check us out at hotboxjamaica.com. That's hotboxjamaica.com. Hotbox Jamaica, a higher meditation vacation.
Indigrow is your source for affordable induction grow lighting. First discovered in 1891 by Nikola Tesla, Indigrow lights deliver 11 years of electronic sunlight to your plants. Indigrow lamps require less than half the power of traditional HID lamps. Converting to Indigrow lights means you'll cut down on your power bill with less lighting. Indigrow lamps also use 5 times less mercury than traditional fluorescent or HID lamps, making Indigrow not only energy efficient but environmentally friendly as well. No more switching out lamps between vegetative and flowering stages. As nature intended, your lights get a steady dose of UV light. That makes your plants grow healthier and stronger. Indigrow products are manufactured in San Diego, California, and come with a written 10-year warranty. What Tesla knew, then growers know now, is that Indigrow lighting is the cost-effective addition to your victory garden. To learn more or order now, go to inda-grow.com. That's INDA-GRO.com, or call 877-45-TALKS.
Free? Did you say free? Free hemp? Free hemp? Free hemp video and audio? Free downloads of all the top artists, all the pot artists on planet Earth. Interviews with all the people making the movement, making the hemp movement. It's time for hemp. That's right, world. It's time for hemp. That's right, world. It's time for hemp.
Well, the Western had a bow, good green reefer, big fat don't be much, much sweeter. Mighty don't hide it. Mighty don't hide it. Just mighty don't hide it. Mighty don't hide it. Well, I don't hide it. Fire up right now.
Yeah, baby, fire up right now. Let it know how to be proud. Come out of the crowd. Stand up, stand tall. Let the whole world know that it is time to end prohibition. You clowns that are sitting in the house watching TV, eating your Twinkies, watching the world spin around you, going, well, I wonder what the heck's going to happen. Who's going to save us from ourselves? Hey, you're part of the problem. If you're just sitting at home doing nothing but just complaining and whining, shut up. Get out that front door, put one foot in front of the other, and take your speech and use it for wise reasons, such as trying to educate the people in your community about the need to end prohibition. If you need help, you can go to leap.cc and find a speaker to bring to your neck of the woods to help educate people around you about how important it is to end these failed policies known as prohibition. Now, I can tell you, we are in a war. Peter hates using terminology like war on drugs, surrender, and all that groovy stuff. But we're in a war on drugs. But, occasionally you do need to take a little break. And as a trooper on the front lines, I can tell you I will allow a break to occur if and only if you are watching America's Got Talent. It is the most remarkable TV show on history. I was contemplating a few weeks ago why I should continue to live. I've seen it all, done it all, and then I saw on TV that they were going to bring back a new season of America's Got Talent, and a whole new wind came into my body, and now I feel alive and regenerated, being able to watch dreams come true in front of my eyes. With that said, I'll pass this back to Chris here at Time for Hemp.
Oh, Lord, what could we do without Casper? Finn, we were talking about some stuff on the break, and you were mentioning a DEA judge.
Yes, absolutely. As you say, on the break, we were talking about rescheduling. I believe that, the state can do what they want to do, but when all is said and done, the heart of the whole matter is we're going to have to get marijuana off of, Schedule 1.
Right.
And what's very interesting is just recently a DEA administrative law judge actually recommended that marijuana be rescheduled to Schedule 2, and that the Food and Drug Administration should be the people in charge of monitoring and handling that.
Mm-hmm.
And they were overrode by the agency's administrator, who at this time is Michelle Liner. So
right.
Here is a DEA administrative law judge whose job is to evaluate the evidence and all, and make suggestions and all, and they said it should be rescheduled, and they were, overruled and totally ignored. So,
well,
there's movement in that direction.
Just to go a step further on the rescheduling thing, a number of years ago, I was at a DPA conference. And somebody said, this is back when it was DPF, Drug Policy Foundation. And back in the 90s, they didn't want anybody using the L word. Don't talk about legalization. And somebody said to me one time, what does legalization mean? Give me a definition. And my answer was, legalization means the elimination of Schedule 1. All other discussion is about regulation. And I personally believe that Schedule 1 is unconstitutional and shouldn't even exist for anything. It should be purely, if you want to regulate it. When we decided that we wanted to prohibit the sale of alcoholic beverages in America, we had to first change the Constitution with an amendment to give the government the power to prohibit the sale of alcohol in America. We have never done that before. And if the government didn't have the power to eliminate this or to prohibit the sale of alcohol back in 1920, unless we changed the Constitution, where did they get it from today? And it's, but that's a whole other area. Do you have anything, Finn, in your area you want to plug? Because we're right up on the end of the show. And if you got any websites or anything you want to plug, now's the time to do it.
Oh, absolutely. There's two websites I'd like to plug, as mentioned earlier. One is just a LEAP website. I encourage everyone. You do not have to have been a judge or lawyer or even involved with law enforcement As a matter of fact, a lot of our members are just concerned citizens.
Yep.
Get on our website at leap.cc and join. Read what it has to say. There's a lot of really good stuff on that website. And then the other one, for the individuals out there that have been totally, affected by the drug war, please get on the website, which is stories@leap.cc. Again, stories@leap.cc. Tell your story, and let's get it out there. Get involved.
Absolutely. Finn, thanks very much for spending some time with us today. Casper, you know what I always say at the end. Bad things happen because good people stay silent. Don't stay silent any longer. Casper, back to you.
Exactly, and we are not silent here at Time for Hemp. We have a lot of great hosts on the network that are trying to raise the voice of the marijuana movement and let the world know how important it is to end these failed policies. And we ask that you tune in and share us with your friends. That is how we are found. Also, we have great music later on today, and coming up after my big broadcast is Steve Danks out of England. And Steve will be broadcasting on a Monday through Friday basis for a long time with us here on the big network. And with that said, don't forget that the next time you hear me, you'll know that it's Time for Hemp.
Look at all that money, yeah, the money that they spend. Take another look and spend some time for him. Don't cut tree